So welcome, gentlemen. We're very lucky today to have two of the thought leaders and two of the people who have really been at the cutting edge of the digitization of government in the United States. And so I think for all of us, this is going to be a great opportunity. The other thing, just as we were sitting backstage, we were beginning to ask each other, what is the difference between a panel, which it says here, a panel discussion, or a fireside chat? And I'd say the fireside chat is we get a flower. Right, that would be our thing. So welcome, gentlemen. So let's just dive right into it. So, gentlemen, coming from industry, you know, the view that you've had in these roles, the transitions that we're currently looking at. How about we highlight some of the successes that you guys have seen since you've arrived and what you've accomplished, and then also articulate the challenges that you've seen.
Sure. Yeah. For us at DHS, our biggest successes have really come when we've been able to bridge the gaps between different parts of organizations, have really productive relationships with career federal staff, with political staff, with vendors, with other agencies. One of the places we saw that most clearly was our work on the refugee admissions program, where the digital service broadly got charged, along with the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of State, with meeting incredibly aggressive goals for providing humanitarian relief to people around the world and resettling people, particularly Syrian refugees in many cases, into the United States. And we face challenges with the efficiencies of our systems, with different agencies' systems not talking together, that made that harder than it should have been for no good reason. I think I'm incredibly proud of the work that my team did, along with the digital service team at the State Department, and really amazing colleagues at State and at DHS that enabled us to meet the President's goals while maintaining the integrity and efficiency of the system.
That's great. We're going to hold on to those challenges because we're going to come back with a follow-up question on that. Aaron, how about you?
Wow. So I feel like the biggest success for AT&F and the digital services of movement in government in general is the extent to which it's gone, the methods and the tools and the approaches that we have been trying to bring to government have moved on the spectrum from being the exception, the scary, is this even okay sort of thing, to on their way to becoming the rule, right? I don't know, more and more agencies are putting users first, right? More and more agencies are thinking about agile and lean when they're talking about development of new services. More and more agencies are, and in fact, by edict sometimes, turning to open source in the first instance and being transparent, and certainly everybody, is moving to the cloud as well with a great deal of speed. So the just changing the mindset from why would I try that new different thing to why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I take that approach that is going to save me time and money and produce a great result? That's the big, to me, I think the big success.
Right. How about challenges?
Challenges. We had no idea how hard it would be. I think at the beginning, we were looking to just get solutions done, and that's terrific. But it took a little while for us to develop our theory of the case, right? That we, at least at AT&F, we're going to take an approach that said, all right, the service we're going to try to provide, we're going to provide a variety of different types of services to digital teams like Eric's, but what we're trying to do writ large across them is help agencies change their practices, change the approach to problems, dare I say even the culture of how we solve those problems.
Right, so on that, lessons learned.
I think that's
what would we do differently?
Really good point, Aaron. I think we've been very successful at when we apply tremendous resources to very particular problems, and we've been able to move through a lot of older or more traditional ways of doing business, but we struggled when we try to scale that and make that the norm and get to whether it's how we implement and interpret the Paperwork Reduction Act, whether it's how we look at procurement all around government. I think one of our biggest lessons learned has been starting to shift that focus and work alongside doing some of the core critical services and projects also tackle some of those big cross-cutting themes to start making this more accessible to the entire federal government.
Any other thoughts there in terms of lessons learned?
Yeah, I mean, just relatedly, I think you know, one of the other sort of things I wish we had been able to do a little better is to, as that theory of the case was evolving, as we were getting better at it, to do a better job of communicating about it, do a better job of being even more fully open and transparent, not just open source code, not just, you know, our documentation, but open and transparent about the business and about the priorities and decision making and about what's succeeding and what's not, right? To try to, you know, even more sort of embody that risk absorber, right? That mentality and be out there talking openly about what's working and what's not, in order to sort of further foster the spirit of it's okay in government to experiment and to not always get it right the first time, as long as we can, you know, you keep those experiments at the right, you know, cost and scale, rather than sort of, you know, going down one road for many years and many tens of millions of dollars and then finding out you're on the wrong
You're
track.
on the wrong trail,
So.
right. Well, let's follow that up a little bit. So how does an organization like 18F, you know, leverage some of the existing talent that is in the industry, whether it be at the integrator level or the technology company level, and then to kind of get that into the digital innovation agenda, the digital innovation projects that are occurring in the federal government?
Well, so 18F does very little that without a partner. And so in every agency, we're looking, you know, when agencies come to us and ask to work with us, because we're fee for service, right? Agencies have to actually not just ask, but they have to sign a thing saying they're going to sign over the money that they were budgeted to fulfill their mission and priorities. They're going to sign some of it over to us for us to help them. They're always partners. And in fact, like one of the big, important sort of cultural touchstones of our work and our team culture is to always seek out those people at the agency who, you know, who want it, who because they're everywhere, right? You know, so many people in federal government want to do, you know, even better, and nobody likes, you know, nobody in digital in government likes the reputation of government as not being good at digital. Right? And so, like, it's really easy to come together and to make sure that we're helping each other, right? So.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Let's take a little turn here. Eric, we were talking about millennials in the workforce. You're in a new role at DHS. Obviously, it becomes a bigger issue now. So in terms of workforce planning for the future, how do we attract, you know, retain the millennials while we're still managing, as we hear your father is soon to retire, you know, while we're bridging that, you know, that age gap that we have in our workforce, to retain the talent of our senior folks and yet bring in and attract the millennials.
Sure, yeah, and it's something that we spend a lot of our time at USDS overall and our team at DHS working on. And yeah, like I was saying backstage, my dad is a lifelong GSA employee, actually, who's wrapping up his time in government, and the path that he took and the path that I'm taking, as well as the people that we are recruiting are taking, could really, in many cases, not be more different. Sure. I think it comes down to really three different things. Two that seem important and are valuable, but are missing the point, and then one that is often overlooked. The more obvious ones are how we recruit and bring people on board through HR processing and building out a robust recruiting methods to attract top talent. And that's what USDS is focused on from the start. We just celebrated this week bringing in 200 people to USDS across the federal government. And there you need to be able to actively go out and recruit the types of people that the government needs. In many cases aren't browsing USA Jobs looking for listings. They need to be found where they already are, and then be able to bring them on very quickly. You're competing with processes from private companies that might try to bring someone in a week or two.
Right.
So that's one where we focused a lot. There's also the element of how do you give them a work environment that matches what they are used to and how they are productive, something where 18F has done a lot better than we have, to be honest, but giving them collaboration tools and equipment and workspace that seems like it's just perks or toys, but is actually how an entire type of workforce engages.
I would just add to that you know, comfy environment, not comfy environment, all the right tools, not all the right tools yet. The common thread, I think, that brings great folks into this endeavor is, am I going to be able to be productive and have an impact and serve at scale here? And if we can answer yes to that question, no matter what the room looks like, no matter what kind of computer you give them, or what set of tools, right? I mean, those things matter, but ultimately it's, if I come, is it going to be worthwhile, and am I going to be able to make change? Because these, folks in this business, like, they're all impact junkies, right?
Yeah, when you stole my third point. Yeah, that was and that's what really those two things. The first two things, the process, the workspace, are what a lot of people, when they're saying, how do I attract digital talent, that's what they go to first. And it's important, but it is so insignificant compared to giving them an environment that allows them to get things done, and allows them to question sources of authority, allows them to truly have the type of impact that a lot of tech companies like to promise, but really do not deliver on anywhere close to the scale of the federal government.
Right. No, it's great points. And I'm watching our time here. Unfortunately, we could go on, I think, for hours on this. And I think Goldie wanted us to go on for hours. Unfortunately, we have so many other folks on the agenda today. One last question, kind of will throw it out there. Both of you came from industry. You're in the government now. You're leading a change and a transformation. How would you see, what are the challenges and obstacles for non-traditional, let's say information technology companies to enter into this space? How do they overcome some of the high walls that we've built around the industry, right, to become relevant and be impactful, right, to Aaron's point?
Boy, at the risk of sounding like I'm oversimplifying, it's to just get started, right? I mean, so we've been saying from day one that delivery is the strategy, right? That was the Americanization of the UK's the strategy is delivery, right? But just getting started, and the thing is, a lot of those companies have lots of folks who have been using modern tools, modern practices, and just haven't been using them with government.
Right.
And that's not, that's not their fault, right? In part, in large part, what we're trying to do fundamentally is to help our government be a better shopper, right? To be a better customer and interact more smartly with folks who can provide modern services in using modern methodologies. I think the core of it comes actually more. It's more an issue on the government side to how do we help government do a better job of interacting with the vendors.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and maybe attracting them as well, right? Much like the millennial issue.
Right. Well, I think we have to. Government also has to do more to reach out. We can't just put something up on FedBizOps and then be shocked that only traditional contractors are bidding. And that's something we've tried to do a lot across DHS, is to very proactively reach out and walk non-traditional companies through the process, because it doesn't make a lot of sense if you haven't done it before.
Sure.
And they're still entering the competition just as anyone else would, but at least trying to help get them on the playing field, because otherwise they wouldn't even know where the game was being played.
Do you see the initiatives out in the Bay Area helping kind of break down some of the silos and some of the impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I think having 18F, having a big presence in San Francisco, having the USDS recruiting team that's primarily based there. When I was talking to candidates, people that worked in other companies 2 years ago when we were just getting started, I was always explaining what we were even doing here, and wow, you're actually trying to do some of this work inside government, and now it's, oh yeah, I've definitely heard of USDS and 18F. I've thought about that, and they may still not know exactly how to engage, but the tone has definitely changed.
No, I appreciate that. All right, guys, we're on the big zeros here.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we have to end this conversation. I truly appreciate your time fitting us into your busy schedule. and we'll head on out for the remainder of the day. Thank you so much. Please thank our two gentlemen.
Thanks, Brian.